All right, guys, I just wanted to upload sort of an impromptu video, just sort of following up on some of the events that have transpired in the last few hours. Um, as you can see here, I'm looking at this article. Uh, NATO chief condemning Russia's reckless and unprovoked attack on Ukraine. By the time you're watching this video, you probably already heard the news that the tensions between Ukraine and Russia have moved into a hot war as opposed to a cold war, and Russia is actively in the process of invading Ukraine, sending cruise missiles targeted for the capital, Kiev. Also, there have been reports of bombing over Belgorod and other urban centers in Ukraine, and also reports of a military invasion, primarily coming out of southern Ukraine through the Crimea region. So this thing is escalating very quickly. I think a lot of people, and myself included, thought that we sort of have this narrative that these tensions with Russia are played out in a type of Cold War, so to speak. There's a lot of history with that with Russia, and I think that's just sort of what people sort of expected. Um, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself in that area, but I think a lot of people didn't expect this thing to go hot so quickly. Um, I wouldn't necessarily call it a black swan event, just because it's not necessarily something that's unpredictable, right? This is something that has been a possibility for a while, albeit a low possibility, but is sort of coming to fruition. And you know, people are reaping the consequences in a very real and unfortunate way. I mean, this is a trading channel, and we're going to talk about how this affects the markets, but just to take a step back for a little bit, these are real human beings who are caught up in this military conflict, and it's a very ugly situation, and you hope for the best, but it's just hard to see how this is resolved in a way that doesn't involve that type of ugliness and violence and destruction. you know so I know it's a bit of a heavy topic, but I think to tie it back into something that's useful and something you can operate on is that in these environments, if it's probably not a good idea to interact with the market. Whatever technical analysis that you've identified in the market, maybe that pattern is appearing in the market, but you know, in situations like this, I don't know how much TA is really going to be operable. This is a volatile environment, to say the least. And that volatility is probably going to be reflected in the markets and in price action within the markets, in a way that is probably as unpredictable as the situation itself. So I think this is sort of the time to be managing risk rather than adding risk. Maybe you had positions on your trades that you were trying to manage. Well, this is a good time to manage risk, right? Or find opportunities to take risk out of the market as opposed to looking for opportunities to add risks to the market. So that's just my little tidbit, little thing I wanted to add, just considering the recent news. Um, Again, prayers go out for everybody affected.